Welcome to the Prophecy Club. We're going to continue listening to Bill Schnoebelen. Bill is the author of 8 books. He was a Satanic and Voodoo high priest, a second-degree member of the Church of Satan, a New Age guru, an occultist, a channeler, a 90th-degree Mason, a Knight Templar, a member of the Illuminati. He taught astrology, tarot cards, astral projection, and so you say he's a Christian? Yep, Jesus got a hold of him, he's a Christian. Now, before we go in to listen to him, I have some real important and exciting news to share with you. We've been waiting to be able to share this with you for a long time. WatchProphecyClub.com is now live. As you may have heard, the internet is not a reliable place to build a Christian ministry. Many have been closed down for some ridiculous reasons, which many believe was actually discrimination because they were a Christian ministry. Now, we've all known that the day would one day come when Prophecy Club's information, whether it's audio, video, or website, is all going to be pulled from the internet. You certainly don't think that the Antichrist is going to let us stay up there, do you? Well, we can't spend years building a Christian ministry to be left in the hands of the devil, only to have it pulled or killed to their discretion. So, here's what we're doing. We're in the process of pulling all Prophecy Club recordings from the internet, every place. Now, I'm talking about video recordings. We'll leave the audio recordings out there. To build a continuous source for people to be able to continually access our videos so that they can't be turned off, we have now launched WatchProphecyClub.com, brand new site. It is a program to allow you to watch Prophecy Club titles without interruptions or commercials. Currently, it has 160 of our titles up on it, more adding every day. Eventually, it'll have over 300 titles. Would you give a monthly gift of $100 a month to watch over 300 titles? That's over $10,000 worth of Prophecy Club titles if you were to buy them all individually. Would you give a monthly gift of $100 to be able to watch them anytime you like? Well, my son and I discussed this for a long time, and we've decided to do something crazy, to offer a crazy low introductory rate, not $100. Would you give $50 a month to watch any Prophecy Club title anytime on any device? That's right, computer or your cell phone or your tablet or whatever it might be. Well, we've done even better than that. The introductory rate that we decided to offer for a limited time is a ridiculously low gift of only $20 a month recurring monthly subscription. Now, yes, we do expect the rate to rise. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen. However, you can also get a 1-year subscription of $200, which recurs yearly. And none of this has a contract you can cancel anytime you want. But, of course, your best deal is to get a yearly subscription. That way, it'll lock in a rate. Even when we go up, your rates will stay the same. It's WatchProphecyClub.com. Let me say this again. A gift of $20 a month, recurring monthly subscription, allows you access to over 300 Prophecy Club titles on any device, anytime you want. Only $20 a month to access all of them? Yes. Some 24 years of DVDs, videotapes, all recording, now available, WatchProphecyClub.com. Yes, the software company is continuing to work on building Watchman'sTrumpet.com, which will be a video email program. Here's the way it works. You go in and you pre-purchase credits, and then you email gift viewings of Prophecy Club titles to your friends. Yes, you can go ahead and send them to WatchProphecyClub.com now, but I guess I don't have to tell you that trying to get someone to watch a Prophecy Club recording is sometimes not so easy, especially for some of your skeptical friends. So getting them to watch where you paid in advance for a recording and asking them to watch it is going to increase the likelihood of them watching it. Well, again, that's Watchman'sTrumpet.com, which is still coming. It's still in the process of being made. Now, we're not certain if WatchProphecyClub.com and Watchman'sTrumpet.com websites will merge or not, or operate as two separate sites. But for now, the best deal on the planet is $20 a month or $200 a year to lock your rate in to access up to 300 Prophecy Club titles anytime on any device. Best deal going. This is going to allow people around the globe. No longer do you have to wait for DVDs. You don't have to wait for them right now. $20 a month. You can go in there anytime you want. And of course, you can cancel anytime you want. But best deal, sign up for that 1 year access, $200. That way you lock in, even if we go up, and we will be going up, but if we go up, your rate is going to be locked in. WatchProphecyClub.com is now live. You can log on and begin watching now. Over 160 titles with more being added every day. We expect probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have over 300 titles added up there. WatchProphecyClub.com, and you can watch this on any of your devices. It's amazing. I think it's the best deal we've ever offered, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very, very excited about it. WatchProphecyClub.com. Now, at the end of the program, I'm not going to be offering, hey, you can get this or that for some great gift offer. I don't have to anymore. Now, yes, if you want the discs, you can still call or go online and order discs. But I think most people are going to just simply, Prophecy Club is a club, okay? About time we start asking people to join the Prophecy Club. So join the Prophecy Club. Go to WatchProphecyClub.com. $20 a month. Access to 24 years of Prophecy Club titles. Guys, it's amazing. It doesn't get any better than this. Think of all of those DVDs. A lot of them that you probably never even heard of. You've never seen them. I mean, how many people have seen all 300 Prophecy Club titles? Probably nobody. But now you can access them on your computer or on your cell phone or your iPad all the time. Gift of $20 a month or $200 a year. Again, that's what the access fee is right now. But, of course, it's probably going to go up. Right now, best deal, WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com. And, yes, we're still asking for donations for Watchman'sTrumpet.com. As a matter of fact, it is the first of the month, and I need to send off another $5,000 check. Actually, I really need to send him about a $20,000 check because he needs $90,000 before he will let Watchman's Trumpet go live. However, right now, you can join WatchProphecyClub.com. If you want to give to Watchman'sTrumpet.com, and I certainly recommend you do that, then if you'll let us know that's for Watchman's Trumpet, and or if you will put a 7 as the last digit in your gift, then we will know. That one's for Watchman's Trumpet, and right now you're going to get double credit for the credits when Watchman's Trumpet comes online. In other words, you give about $1,000 gift or more, and you're going to have unlimited emailing. In other words, not only are you going to be able to watch Prophecy Club videos anytime you want, but you will be able to email unlimited numbers of those to all of your friends, not just across America, but around the globe. You're going to be able to send people in like Australia, say, hey, buddy, I watched this DVD. I bought this for you. Go ahead and click right here and watch it. And they can watch your choice, or you can give them a choice of, at least this is what we plan, several or maybe even all. You can go watch any of them, and it comes, in other words, you paid for it. It's your credits in advance. Now, it's not much. It's probably going to be $1 or $2 per viewing, not much. But when they discover that you paid for it, it's a gift, it increases the likelihood that they'll actually watch it rather than just sending them, well, hey, man, go check this out. Or you can still send them to WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com, gift of $20 a month recurring monthly subscription, or $200 a year yearly recurring subscription. WatchProphecyClub.com. It's online for the first time today, May 1st, Illuminati Day. I think that's kind of good. I think that's cool. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on over and now listen to all the information about the Illuminati, we're going to go listen to one of the most popular of all recordings, Exposing the Illuminati from Within by Bill Schnoebelen.
He would have them led into this inner garden of his palace. And this garden was just gorgeous. I mean, palm trees, fruits everywhere. And there were these beautiful girls that were there to service these men in any way they wanted, sexually. And when the guy started coming down off his high, he would bring him back and plunk him back at the table. And after the guy was sober enough to understand what was going on, he says, "Do you remember what you've just experienced?" And the guy says, he says, "That is paradise. I have just shown you paradise. If you serve me, you'll go there instantly when you die." And these guys bought it. I mean, you think Osama bin Laden is bad. Osama bin Laden, other than he maybe has applied modern day methods to this, is nothing by comparison. This guy had an army of these people. And one time his castle was surrounded, and the head caliph of another army came forward and said, "Well, if you surrender, we'll let you live." And he says, "No, you're going to surrender." And the guy says, "Why would I do that? I outnumber you 10-1. And Hassani Sabah went like this and snapped his fingers, and 100 of his men leaped off the parapets to their death, 1,000 feet, smiling all the way down, because they knew when they died they'd be in paradise with their 72 virgins. The guy fled. He didn't want to fight something like that. Can you blame him? And the other time that is recounted in history is that Caliph was going to storm the castle and try and capture Hassan, and Hassan sent him a note and said, "If you do not back off, you will be dead within a week." And the other Caliph just scoffed and said, "How can this be?" He says, "I'm surrounded by my most trusted retainers, my family members. No one ever gets within 100 feet of me unless I've known them for years." The guy went to bed that night. The following morning he woke up, there were 10 assassin daggers buried around his head on his pillow. This is a characteristic little dagger that the assassins would use. It looked like flame. You've probably seen pictures of daggers that look like this, and they get into a sharpened point. That was their signature weapon of killing. Now, why is this called the Order of Assassins? Because they were called in Arabic hashishim. And the word hashishim, meaning eaters of hashish, became corrupted into assassins. That's where our word assassin comes from today. So, this organization, obviously this guy was a master at mind manipulation, at the use of drugs, at the use of sexuality, at the use of military training to create virtual robots. Now along comes another group, the Templars. Now the Templars were a very different kind of organization. They were a military order of knights that were started by the Pope to fight in the Crusades. Because what happened was, as some of you probably know, the Saracens and the Muslims came in and took over the holy city of Jerusalem. And so naturally the Pope had to mount an army and go and try and get it back. And that was a total disaster in the long run. But anyway, part of what came up were these Knights Templar. And they were a group of supposed warrior monks who took vows of poverty, and it was their job. They were known as the Knights of St. John of the Temple of Jerusalem. And it was their job to supposedly shepherd the pilgrims that were going to the Holy Land to worship at the holy sites. How many of you ever found that in the Bible, by the way, that you have to go to the Holy Land and worship at holy sites and kiss the foot of the true cross and all this kind of stuff? Did you ever find that in the scriptures? Not me either. No, I somehow missed that. Anyway, but the funny thing was is that originally there were only 9 knights in the Knights Templar. Now, how would 9 knights be able to guard all these pilgrims on their way to the Holy Land? A lot of people believe their real purpose was to try and dig in the ruins of the Temple of Jerusalem and find ancient mysteries, ancient secrets, and ancient treasure. The other thing they did is they discovered banking. What a wonderful invention. Here's what they did. See, everybody traveling to the Holy Land from Europe was afraid that bandits would fall upon them and steal their gold and silver. A legitimate concern. So the Templars came up with this wonderful idea called the check. They said, we'll tell you what, in our Templar commandery in Paris or Munich or wherever, you give us all your gold and we'll give you a piece of paper. And this piece of paper, it'll be written in a special cipher that only a Templar can decipher, and it will tell you that this piece of paper is worth, say, $500 in gold, even though there weren't dollars in those days. And then this person would carry this piece of paper to wherever they were going, and there would be a Knight Templar hospitalry along the way at key places, and they'd present this, and they could get some money to buy food or whatever. And then finally, when they got to the Holy Land, they'd turn in and get their money back. And of course, they made a little interest in the process. For a small banking, you know how you get these banking fees every month? Oh, a little fee here and there. They became incredibly wealthy. They became more wealthy than anybody can imagine. They were richer than the Pope. They were richer than any of the monarchs of Europe, even though they were under a vow of poverty. Explain that one. But you see, that's because the individual knights, we don't even own the clothes on our back. But yet the order was wealthy beyond anybody's dreams. And what they did is, they started loaning money to the kings and the emperors around them. And one particular king, Philippe le Bel of France, was into them for a lot of money. I mean, big time. I mean, let's just say this. His Knight Templar credit card was maxed out. And he figured, plus they literally owned half of his kingdom. And so he decided he was going to take him out. And so he arranged when the Pope died to get a new Pope on the throne of St. Peter, who was in his pocket. And he could basically manipulate this Pope and have him do anything he wanted. And so he arranged that the Knights Templar would be arrested on charges of black magic, sodomy, pedophilia, and sorcery. And this went forth on October 13th. That's Friday. That's why Friday the 13th is considered unlucky to this very day. And they arrested thousands of knights and tortured them. They were accused of all of these things. And it's hard to totally separate because obviously if you're torturing somebody, you can pretty much get them to say anything you want them to. But some things, even in England where they weren't tortured, they taught about how they worshipped a deity called Baphomet, which was variously described as either being a skull or being a goat-headed man or being a three-faced head. And to this day, the origin of the name Baphomet is somewhat mysterious. Some people even say it's a corruption of the name Muhammad, which is one way of saying Muhammad. But nobody knows for sure. Some have speculated among the esoteric people, the magicians and sorcerers, that it means son of Mithra, Bapho-Mitra. And Mithra was a false Christ figure that was running around in the days of the apostles back in the first century. And the Mithra cult was going right along with the beginning stages of the believers in Yeshua, but it died out, and of course the church grew. Well, what happened was the last Knight Templar Grand Master was captured in this raid that went all over Europe. His name was Jacques de Molay, and some of you may recognize that name as being a name of a youth order in Masonry. And he was tortured, and he and his, I forget what the guy's name was, who was like his right-hand man, were finally condemned to be burned at the stake. And as they were being burned at the stake, he hurled a curse at the King of France and at the Pope and said, "I now go before a tribunal far more just than yours. And you both will be joining me at that tribunal within the year." And both the king and the Pope died within the year. Now, some people say it was because of black magic. Some people would say it was because of assassins that slipped something naughty in the breakfast food of the king and the Pope. Who knows? We don't know for sure. But here's my point. While the Templars were in the Holy Land, there's a lot of indication they cross-pollinated, maybe literally, with the assassin cult. And they brought back a lot of these secret doctrines of the assassins to Europe, where it spread like a virus. Now remember, they were all driven underground, the Templars. Some of them, though, knew this was coming. They had some sort of warning, and the fabulous Templar treasure was loaded on some ships, and the best anybody can figure is that they sailed around the Mediterranean, through the Straits of Gibraltar, and up to Scotland, which is where they hid the treasure. And that's why today we have Scottish Rite Masonry. And in fact, you can go up today, and we've done this, to Scotland, and find tombstones that are almost 900 years old that have Templar symbols on them and Masonic symbols on them, which are very much the same thing. But for the most part, the Templars went deep underground, and they emerged about 150 years later in a different format as the Rosicrucians. Now, the Rosicrucians are another occult society. And I'm not going to get into great detail about them, except they're the brethren of the Rosy Cross. And the rose symbolizes the feminine mysteries, and the golden cross symbolizes the masculine mysteries. So we're back to this and that. It also has a sexual magical connotation, which I'm not going to get into. But the thing is, again, the Rosicrucians were the custodians of the same secrets that the Templars had, that the Assassins had. And here's what's interesting. The very first time the word Mason appears in written English is in the context of Rosicrucian. In the 17th century, there's a poem called Muse's Threnody, and I document this in my book Masonry Beyond the Light, where he says, "For we be the brethren of the Rosy Cross, and we have the Mason word and second sight." Now, what's the Mason word? Well, that's the lost word of Masonry, which is the great secret that's supposedly conveyed to you when you become a Master Mason. What's the second sight? It's occult power. It's an old-fashioned word for being able either to see the future or to be like a medium or something like that. It's called having the sight. So right then and there, we see three things knitted together by that quote: Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, and the occult. Okay, we already kind of dealt with the Jesuits. I'm not going to talk about them again. But what's interesting is that a crisis occurred within Masonry. Because originally, how did Masons get started? Well, they were a trade union. Very much like today, you have like the Plumbers Union or the Stonemasons Guild or the Carpenters Union. And think about it. Back in those days, hardly anybody read. Everybody was illiterate, you know. It's like the sign I literally saw this sign in Milwaukee on a school. It said, "Illiterate, write for free help." Anyway, the point is that nobody could read except a few priests and scholars. And so how do you know if someone's a Master Mason and is able to receive master's wages? Because they have the 3 degrees, just like I think, and I'm not a tradesman, but I mean, I know they have in many of these groups like carpenters, what they have, like an apprentice, and then you become like a journeyman, and then you become a master, like a master carpenter or a master stonemason, and you get more money. The higher up in the ranks you get. Well, it's the same thing in Masonry. You have entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. And how do you know what the guy is? Well, here's what they came up with. Let's have secret signs. So, for example, if you show up at some cathedral where they're building some huge cathedral, because that's mostly what the Masons did, is they built cathedrals and they built castles. So you're at this cathedral, and you walk up and you say, "Hi, I'm a Master Mason. You got any work?" And the guy who's like the foreman of the site would say, "Well, how do I know you're a Master Mason?" And he would go like this. And that's the sign of a Master Mason. Or he might give a secret word. So that's how it all started. And for centuries, that's why have you ever looked either in person or like maybe on the Discovery Channel or whatever at close-up pictures of these cathedrals? They're, first of all, masterpieces, but secondly, they're full of occult symbolism. Like to this day, nobody can figure out how they did the windows of Chartres Cathedral. The light that comes through those windows is just supernatural. And the symbolism, there's not a lot of Christian symbolism in most of these cathedrals. There's gargoyles, there's caryatids, there's demons, there's unicorns, there's all this weird stuff. You know why? Because those were catechisms in stone. You all know what a catechism is. It's something that you use to teach children or youngsters about the faith. I remember the Baltimore Catechism. Who is God? God is a supreme being, infinitely perfect, who made all things. I still remember that from first grade. And, you know, what they would do is, because again, these people couldn't read, is the old Master Mason, as he was getting on in years and to the point where he was thinking maybe his memory would fail, he'd take the young fellow craft or the young entered apprentice under his arm and he'd take him up to some place like the rose window of Notre Dame Cathedral. What does Notre Dame mean? Our Lady. And it doesn't mean the Virgin Mary either. And there's this beautiful rose window, and he would show this guy, the young entered apprentice, what all these different things mean, and he would explain it, all these esoteric symbols, and that's how it was passed from generation to generation, because they knew these cathedrals in stone would last for centuries, and indeed they have. That's where the expression, you ever heard the expression sub rosa? It's Latin and means under the rose. And it's an expression that means to say something secretly. I'm going to tell you this sub rosa. That's where it goes back to the fact that the true inner secrets of Masonry would be conveyed under this rose window. So, the crisis that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago is the fact that the Protestant Reformation hit. Now, what was the big issue with Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation? Other than, salvation by faith alone, sola scriptura, sola fide, only the Bible, only faith. Well, it was indulgences. Because there was this clown, Johann Tetzel, that was his name, honest, and he was running around Europe raising money to build these awesome cathedrals by selling indulgences. And he'd go up to some rich guy, and he'd hear his confession, and the guy would say, "Bless thee, Father, for I have sinned. I committed adultery with, somebody." And he'd say, "Oh, that's a big sin. If you give me 500 ducats, it's absolved," just like that. And you could even murder somebody. That might cost 1,000 ducats. And this was a huge abuse, because it was taught that Yeshua, when he died, this is Catholic doctrine, that when he died, he laid up this enormous depository of grace, kind of like a Fort Knox of grace. And that then when all of these saints died, like St. Francis or St. Benedict or, whatever, that they were also better than they had to be. They were perfect. And so they raised up additional storehouses of grace to add to this huge pile of grace that's sitting up there somewhere in heaven in this bank vault. And the Catholics teach that the Pope, when he was given the keys of Peter to bind and loose, you all know that passage in Matthew 16, that's one of those keys opens up this storehouse. And so if you give money to Peter, to the Pope, he can unlock some of this grace and sort of poosh, dump it on you and forgive you your sins. And they were using this, you do that for the dead too, by the way, and the Catholic Church does this to this day. To the day my poor father died, every year he would have a mass said for his mother. Even though she'd been dead for like 20 years, she was a perfectly nice, sweet old granny lady. But sometimes 2 or 3 times a year, he would pay $25, $30 to have a mass said for the repose of her soul. So anyhow, the Vatican was raking in millions with this indulgence thing. Well, when Martin Luther came along...
And unfortunately, I've got to break in right there, but I do encourage you, go to watchprophecyclub.com. It's now live. Watchprophecyclub.com. You can sign up, $20 a month, recurring monthly subscription, and watch now over 160 titles, and within a few weeks, over 300 different Prophecy Club titles. All for a gift of $20 a month or $20 a year. Yes, we do know that the gift amount is going to be increasing, but you can lock it in by going ahead and getting a 1-year gift of $200, recurring yearly subscription, and lock in the amount. You can watch all of the Prophecy Club DVDs, 160 titles now, eventually to 300 here in the next few weeks. All of them, anytime you want, for a gift as low as $20 a month. Yes, it's going to go up, but at least $20 a month. That's the introductory offer, or $200 a year recurring yearly subscription. WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com. I think it is the best deal I've ever seen. Yes, we're still looking for gifts to help us get Watchman's Trumpet online. That's a different video email program. But right now, WatchProphecyClub.com is live online. You can immediately start watching for a gift of $20 or more. Oh, by the way, you can cancel within 3 days, or actually you can cancel anytime you want to. $20 a month, recurring monthly subscription. Now watch over 160 titles, eventually over 300 Prophecy Club titles. Wow, what a deal. WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless.